You want to modify your car, but you don't want to blow it up or make it drive worse than standard. And if you've modified cars before, you know just how easy it is to fall down the rabbit hole of throwing a bunch of parts at it and not actually enjoying the build when it's done. So how exactly do you avoid doing that? Well, the easiest way is to break the build down into 5 different categories. Number 1, maintenance. Is the car driving how it should have from factory? This is important, especially if you don't feel like having your car sitting in the driveway broken for the next 3 months. Number 2, fitment. How exactly are you going to get that stance look or track ready fitment depending on what you want? Number 3, are you going to be doing anything under the hood, and should you? Number 4, do you plan on changing things in the interior, risking comfort? And number 5, can you do all of these mods without the result being you having to use an Uber for the next 3 months? If you want to enjoy any car, whether it's your daily driver, a weekend beater, or even a project car, start by sorting out the maintenance. Replacing things like spark plugs and filters will ensure that the engine runs at its peak. And doing things like a coolant flush, an oil change, replacing the brake and transmission fluid will all save you a ton of money in the long run. Doing research on common failure points like tensioners, water pumps, I'm looking at you BMW, thermostats, again, I'm looking at you BMW, and oil pumps. Replacing all of these parts won't really give you a performance gain, but it will make sure that your car isn't down and out for the next 6 months. Next, you're gonna want to take care of your fitment. So first figure out what kind of fitment are you going for. Are you aiming to get that perfect wheel to fender fitment? Maybe you want a more track ready look. Or maybe you just want to slam it to the ground on cut springs. Don't do that. From there, you just need to look at your budget. If you're willing to shell out 5 to 8 grand, go for a set of coilovers. If you want a more comfortable ride, choose a quality set of lowering springs. It's just, here in South Africa, for some reason, coilovers and lowering springs are so close in price that you might as well just go for a set of coilovers. You're also going to want to pick up a nice set of wheels and tires. A good formula to follow is only increase your wheel size by max about 3 inches. And as for tires, do not cheap out on them. Stretch tires look great, but they are kinda sketchy. And if you're gonna buy a set, go for a more premium set. And also, if you plan on buying wheels off Facebook Marketplace, just make sure that they aren't bent or buckled. And also make sure that the PCD matches your car. And also make sure you do some research on the wheels you want, just to see that they clear suspension and your brakes. And again guys, for the love of everything, do not go for cut springs. You're just gonna end up blowing out your shocks, the ride is uncomfortable, and when you send it to the mechanic to replace your shocks, he's gonna see your cut springs. And he's gonna judge. Trust me, they judge. Next up, are you planning on doing anything under the hood? First, you need to figure out if the platform that you have is known for performance. If you have engines like a Beams, a 2ZZ, or even a VW 16 valve, you know those engines are known for being modified. You can do everything from upgraded cams to boring those blocks out and throwing in bigger pistons. The list literally just goes on and on and on. However, if you have something like a CLP Polo engine, the furthest you should really go is a cold air intake and an exhaust. Some engines are made to be modded to the moon and back, and some just aren't. However, if you want to mod those engines, you can. It'll just absolutely ruin your credit score because you'll end up spending more money than you can pay back for something that doesn't start on a cold morning. But if you do plan on modifying your engine, start with the simple things like headers and exhaust, a cold air intake. A good formula to follow when you deep dive into modifying your engine is the fact that adding more power equals heat, and more heat equals less power. So make sure you take care of your cooling system just as much as you upgrade everything else. Then we move on to interior mods. When it comes to interior, it really does depend on the type of build that you're going for. If it's a project for the track or just something you take out on the weekends to rub the back roads in, you can totally gut the interior and throw in a bucket seat, maybe even a roll cage, and go for an aftermarket steering wheel. However, if you're modifying your daily driver, you should definitely think twice about the bucket seat. Yeah, they look cool, but after a week of driving to and from the office, you will literally be able to park in the handicap parking, no questions asked. And quite honestly, gutting the interior on your daily driver is kind of like shaving the hair off your house cat. It does make it much lighter, and it's just uncomfortable to look at. And finally, number 5. Does everything you want to do leave the car still driving, and does it actually improve the experience? Well, this is a question you're gonna have to ask yourself after taking every one of those 5 steps, putting it together, and seeing if you created something that's actually good. Think about the budget. Where did you cheap out? Where did you spend a little bit more? Look at things like, did you pick up that racing camshaft when your lifters still need to be replaced? And is that cold air intake that you're planning on buying actually a cold air intake? Or is it a hot air intake that was just cheap? If the answer is no to any of these things, I'd say you're on your way to a pretty sick build. So if you guys did enjoy this video, drop a like, subscribe, and let me know what cars you guys are building down below. With that being said, until next time.